All right, folks, it is time for our live Q&A here on NFL Daily, so make sure you use hashtag NFL in the comment section. Producer Brett behind the scenes, he'll bring up the ones that he likes and the ones that catch his eye, so make sure using that hashtag NFL makes it a little bit easier on us. Kicking things off from AKA Ninja, do you think the Seahawks are going to sign, he means Bobby Wagner, because they traded Frank Clark? And could you pay Bobby? And I assume you mean Jaron Reed there. That's the first Reed that comes to mind for me for Seattle. You can afford them both. I don't think Reed's going to break the bank in the way some defensive tackles will. I do think Seattle ends up re-signing Bobby Wagner. I don't think his play has declined in recent years. I think he remains an elite linebacker. And if Moses is worth $17 million, I think Bobby Wagner is as well. So I think Seattle will re-sign him, but we'll see. They've made some interesting decisions on the defensive side of the ball in recent years. From Jeff Rodgers, how many Pro Bowlers will the Raiders have and who will they be? Okay, good question. Antonio Brown jumps out to me. I can kind of see Gareon Conley having a Pro Bowl year as well. Maybe one of those offensive linemen, if Gabe Jackson or Trenton Brown or Rodney Hudson either improve to form or play like they did last year, those could be options there. I don't think Mo Hurst is quite there yet, but I think he's going to take a big step forward this year, so those are just some of the names to come to mind for me. All right, Luke Miller, do you think the Searcy cut makes room for the Panthers to sign another safety? I mean, it's possible they have the roster space right now. Maybe this means Rashawn Golden has looked better, / they want to give him more chances there, because obviously Eric Reed is going to remain one starter. They drafted Golden fairly early. I think it was round 3 if I'm remembering correctly. Maybe it's time for him to take that next step forward and become a starter for Carolina. Leo J, another Panthers question. Is Will Grier the future quarterback of the Panthers or just a backup for Cam Newton? I think Carolina evaluated Grier in a similar way that I did. He can be a stopgap starter for you, but he's probably going to be best as a high-end backup. Case Keenum was kind of my comp for him in terms of what he can be, and that's a very valuable player in today's NFL. I mean, look what happens when a starting quarterback goes down. Look at Carolina. They were done. They had nothing behind Cam Newton. That's the case for a lot of NFL teams out there. So I think Will Grier is going to profile more as a backup, as a guy that can be a stopgap starter for you. I just don't think he's ever going to be a franchise guy for Carolina. But if Newton does get hurt, he's a guy that can start a couple of games and not be a disaster for you. From Devin Edwards, why do people, he means hate, not hat, Cam so much? I don't know. I think Cam Newton's a really good quarterback. Maybe it's the celebrations. Maybe they rub people the wrong way. I think Cam Newton's a really good player. I think he's a fantastic quarterback when healthy. I think he gets hated on a little bit too much, Devin, so I agree with you there. From Zachary Moll on Facebook, will the Patriots get another free agent? They certainly could. I think this is a situation where they're going to wait for sure until after the NFL trade deadline, or not the NFL compensatory deadline, when it won't impact their comp pick because the Patriots play that game as well as anybody out there. They could, maybe if a tight end gets cut. I think for now, New England's kind of happy with their roster overall. From No AirPods Gang, funny name, when do you think Drew Lock's first start in the NFL will be? Great question. Maybe if Denver's out of the playoff race, like week 14, 15, 16, 17. I don't think he starts in the first half of the NFL season, of course, unless there's an injury to Joe Flacco. So I think that Denver really does want to commit to Drew Lock. Their first few picks were to help him out in a big way. So I don't think, or to Flacco, I don't think Lock starts early in the year, but keep an eye out for later in the season if Denver is eliminated from the playoff race. From Just Your Average Baller, do you think that there's a trade for Karl Joseph or Chris Harris Jr.? With Tart at strong safety, I don't think Joseph really fills a big need. If I were them, I'd be looking for more of a true single high free safety because I don't think the Niners have that guy right now. Historically speaking, Chris Harris doesn't fit what their defensive coordinator, Robert Saleh, looks for in terms of arm length and height and size at cornerback. But they did sign Jason Verrett. So maybe if Verrett isn't healthy, maybe they explore that trade package there, and there is some good relationship between the two front offices. For now, I lean towards neither, but keep an eye on Chris Harris if negotiations continue to go poorly. Kody Dunbar just says, Giants, ? What do you want to talk about for the Giants, Cody? Let me know in the comments section. I like how the Giants put out that hype video of Daniel Jones completing swing passes. That was fun. they're like 3 mid to deep balls and then a bunch of checkdowns, and apparently those are dime by today's NFL standards. If I can complete the pass, that means it's not a dime at all. Back to Leo G again. Will the Texans trade Clowney? I don't think they'll trade him, at least not right now. I think this could be a situation where they do try to work out a long-term deal. It doesn't work out. They haven't played on the franchise tag this year. And then next offseason, maybe it looks more like a D Ford Frank Clark situation where they try to trade him at that point. But remember, that price tag will go up next offseason. So if Clowney has 9 sacks again, can't get to that double-digit mark, that's going to be a little bit dicey for Houston or any team that figuring Clowney wants $20+ million per year. That's a lot to pay for a guy who so far hasn't hit double-digit sacks in a single season. From Blowfishes YouTube, which I can only assume is an account dedicated to Blowfish, Suh will sign with the Vikings once they trade Trey Waynes and extend or trade Kyle Rudolph. We'll get Suh on a 1-year deal for less than many think. Interesting idea. I feel like Minnesota's okay at defensive tackle. Obviously, Linval Joseph, but I kind of want to see what Jaleel Johnson has. They brought back, I think, Tom Johnson, too. So it's an interesting idea, and I could see Waynes getting dealt, but I was a little surprised he wasn't dealt during the NFL draft. But Waynes and Rudolph both definitely fit the trade parameters and trade options for Minnesota, who is very tight on cap space right now. Today's show brought to you guys by WagerTalk.com. Get a free daily pick package only available at WagerTalk.com/chatsports. Normally you have to pay for this type of great expert advice, but they're hooking you up with a free daily pick package, but you got to go to WagerTalk.com/chatsports. That's the only way to get it for free. Back to some more YouTube comments here from Richard Kline. How good will the Chiefs be this year, or the Chiefs defense be? Not feeling great about that defense. I like bringing in Frank Clark, but the linebacker play was pretty bad last year, and even with Tyrann Mathieu in, I still have some pretty serious concerns about that secondary. So the good news is the offense should still be top 10, top 5 in the NFL. So as long as that defense can just not give up 35, 30 points a game, Chiefs should be okay. From Walter Smith on Facebook, how many Pro Bowls will the Cowboys have? Great question. Certainly a bunch of different options. We've seen Dak go to the Pro Bowl in recent years, Zeke Elliott, Amari Cooper, 3 of the offensive linemen, and Frederick Martin, Tyron Smith. DeMarcus Lawrence has been a perennial Pro Bowler for Dallas. Jalen Smith, Van Der Esch, both worthy. Maybe Byron Jones, Xavier Woods. Of course, they're not going to get all of those guys in, but if the Cowboys win 10, 11 games, knowing how the Pro Bowl works, Cowboys will get plenty of players in there. A not-so-serious one from Omega Ice Cream. By the way, what flavor is Omega in terms of ice cream? Like, how does that taste? Let me know in the comment section. Is Zion better than Jimmy Butler at football? Well, all I know is if Zion declared for the draft and was eligible, he'd probably be like a 4th-round pick. Like, that level of athlete will get you drafted at some point, even though it's all upside, all projection. From Big Dad, what's a good landing spot for Eric Berry? 2 teams I kind of like. I don't like the Niners as much, but I think they kind of make some sense there as a fit if they don't mind Berry not being a true single high guy anymore. And I know they signed Burnett. I know they drafted Sheldrick Redwine. I think the Browns still make a lot of sense for Eric Berry. I don't think Burnett has a whole lot left in the tank. Maybe take a flyer on another former Chief if you're John Dorsey, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the Dallas Cowboys here either. Now that was great. It says hashtag NFL Mitch, you baby. I thought you could do at least 12 to 15 beers. Yes, this is why Mitch is not here. He tweeted this out. He might have deleted it since then. Don't quote me on that. But he said he tried to do 9 beers in 6 minutes, isn't feeling great, and wants some privacy. So that's why Mitch is not here. So go tweet him at MitchellRenz365. Call him a baby and a coward and weak. Please go do that. It's at MitchellRenz365. From Andrew C., what do you think about the rumors of Gerald McCoy going to the Browns? We did mention that on a recent NFL video, so of course make sure you subscribe, youtube.com/chatsportstv. Yeah, I could see it. The money is the big issue here. Gerald McCoy is going to make $13 million unless they redo his deal. And if you're McCoy, why do you want to redo it? In a trade, like you would just say, give me the $13 million if you're McCoy. So that's a big issue there. He'd be a good fit as a rotational defensive tackle. I just don't know if the Browns actually want to pay him $13 million per year.